right, great. So for all of you who are following us on Twitter, we asked you if you think Matiang'i's measures to curb exam cheating will in fact outlive him. When he leaves, has he left a system and infrastructure that will outlive him? Tweet us at KTN News, at James Smart, hashtag news sources. Happy to hear your thoughts on what you think if Matiang'i's measures to curb exam cheating will outlive him. So, funny how the CS of Education, Fred Matiang'i, is appearing to give a lesson on how to do things to his own government. Matiang'i is giving a demonstration on how to fight corruption and public theft. He takes full responsibility of his office and institutes measures to curb the vice.
That I remember last year when we released the examination, I stood up and as I said, as a responsible public servant, I tendered an apology for the mess in which we had found ourselves. By the time we were releasing KCSE early this year, 7,809 of our children did not have results. That was an unacceptable situation. We cannot live that way. We cannot claim to be responsible people. And I tendered an apology, and I said at that time that I do not wish to apologize again. I will take responsibility. The buck stops here. I will do whatever it takes on my own. With the help of the Lord Almighty, we will do the right thing this time around.
We made a promise to this country as a nation that we shall deliver exams that have not leaked. And I remember saying it very firmly, that we can take that promise to the bank. And I think we are going to catch that promise today. I want to start by saying that no matter how well a strategy is, a culture, our own culture, can destroy that strategy. And what my council has been going through is fighting against the culture. To the extent that we had to reorganize the examination process at strategic, tactical, and process level. And because this is not my day, I want to say that this process of reorganization, I am sure you're already aware, meant that we limit the number of people that had access to what we were doing. Maybe some people will say that I should not say this here, but from where I'm standing, I don't trust anybody. And it helps me if I deal that way.
Well, that is something that we don't hear very often. I take responsibility, the buck stops here. You hear something like, what do you want me to do?
Guy.
Yeah.
But tell you what, these two gentlemen actually give me hope that we have a country, that we have a future. But when this CS, very specifically, performs so well, I mean, I would give him an A, and then everyone else, I'll give them an E. I mean, you
and
wonder,
the average will be an E.
Well, that's a problem. That's a problem. That is the government average would be a score of an E or a D minus.
Yes.
But there's one CS who's actually doing his job. I'm very, very proud.
For me, the symbolism. Yes, very comforting words. The buck stops here. And just to add what he has said, these two coming just after one, Bernard Bushere, also stood there and said, this is the work I did and I stand by it. So somehow, something is happening, probably.
We have a few people.
But it also shows us something very important. The symbolism of all these things, that you don't need money to change, to transform. You don't need an army.
Oh, you
don't need a crowd. You just do it to be yourself so that you don't ask people nifanye nini, you know.
Especially, we don't need more new laws and independent.
No,
exactly,
no.
yes.
You just need commitment.
To curb exam cheating and whatnot.
No. And even fight the war on corruption, I think. If the president took a step and said, no, this enough is enough. I think
I take responsibility.
Yeah, and it's even allowed. The buck stops here. And he can even suspend the constitution. That is allowed, by the way, to deal with this monster called corruption, for example.
My only problem is that the record that Matiang'i has set today cannot be sustained exactly the same way with the Mishuki rules, because we do not have structures or
to support this.
Yes, we do not have any structures.
No.
And really doesn't even require structures.
The commitment.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was coming to. It requires only commitment from the people responsible. So if we actually have people who take responsibility and say, if there is exam cheating, blame me for it, not start saying,
blame
guy,
everyone else.
you know.
Yesterday, the commissioner with the NCIC, Professor Gitile Naituli, said, as a country, it will be a lie to say that we have a shortage of laws or proper laws. Every day they heap amendments, let us amend this or that. He said, no, it's not that it's not that we have a shortage of laws. What we lack is a shortage of people to implement the law. Matiang'i has not been a crybaby, has not asked for any reinforcement. 1 year down the line, we've not, I'm almost forgetting Sosion's voice and Muzonzili, tunachotaka ni mulio wa shilingi. He's not engaged them, he's retreated, knew where the problems were, retreated with his team, they made their strategy. Now they've emerged, the hashtag Matiang'i for president, is it Magufuli for president?
Yes.
You can imagine, if only the president and the deputy, young and energetic as they are, if only they could spend that time to fold their sleeves and work for the remaining few months, we could see change. You would ask, why spend a whole week, you go to a region in the name of rallies, you're demonizing one individual. A whole week, back to back. Anyway. A half of your cabinet, they are talking themselves hoarse, attacking people who have no contract with Kenyan, and then it's a matter of life and death when people are campaigning to be given an opportunity to serve. Something needs to give.
I have to move on to the next topic, and it's late in the day, but the race to get a new IEBC is on. The selection panel has started interviewing individuals shortlisted for the commissioner's job. The last week panel re-advertised the position of the chair after their shortlisted candidates ran into some headwinds. Listen to some of those who are interviewed today.
What are your views on the recommendations they made?
I think if you read, this is I did a summary of the recommendations.
Yes.
There are some things that are progressive, particularly in giving ground, for example, on the transmission of the results, particularly for the presidency. But there are also certain provisions that I believe we may agree currently, but at some point we will need to have conversation, particularly in meeting some of those timelines on the amendments provided.
All right, so gentlemen, it doesn't appear that we're keeping with the timelines. 9 months into it, we're still interviewing these guys. No absolutely any single name that props out, from whatever. I have to believe these guys are good people. So they'll just show up and run the elections in 9 months.
If I was Michera, I would have said, just give it to Matiang'i and we go home.
In fact, you've reminded me, someone said we should just give Matiang'i the chairman's job.
Yeah.
And by the time you finish voting, by the time you get home, you know the results.
Exactly.
You know the results
Pretty
of the
much
president. Is that efficient?
Yeah, but also this panel, I think it has been, I think maybe the fatigue within the people, it also has problems. We thought that when we go for religious fellows, they will help us. But now I'm discovering that the most dangerous group of people that are as greedy as anybody, they are also interested in small monies, just like everybody, the circus around the voice of the chair.
No, I wouldn't accuse them of anything just yet.
There's evidence.
Oh, there is?
Of course.
That's a very wholesale accusation.
Right?
But I really do not have a problem in us taking a bit more time. Let's take our time and do the proper thing. If the applicants we feel didn't, do not meet the basic, the minimum requirement.
We'll go back.
Let's just go back.
So we're going to do this until August next year.
So what
without
would you rather?
I think, if there's a delay and we get people that they are agreed across the board, why not? But Oruko, remember that the commissioners are not the ones that are doing the donkey work. They are just ceremonial. We'll say the chair is Professor James Smart, Vice Chair Oruko, Moses here. Yeah. The people who do the donkey work is the secretariat. So as we speak, we expect them to be moving and doing everything. But we have big questions
about the secretariat.
But no.
Hang on to
that is where they should have. That is what they should have maybe addressed, because the commissioners are just ceremonial. People who do the donkey work is the secretariat.
That's not true.
Okay, so finally, it turns out Kirinyaga County is sort of obsessed with morgues. The Kirinyaga County government had started construction of 2 mortuaries at a modest cost of 4 million shillings sometime in 2014. the Sagana and Kirinyaga sub-county hospitals were to be equipped with this new facility. But alas, instead of the morgues being completed, the county government raised monies for constructions from the modest 4 million shillings to a whopping 17 million shillings. Here's the clincher. Both projects have stalled and there is no contractor on site, while monies have already been paid. What a grave situation in Kirinyaga. 10 seconds to take this home.
Well, as you rightly said, I think that's a very grave situation. And I mean, people need to raise their voices. When something wrong is happening, people should just raise their voices and say, no, there has to be an end to this.
Yeah, it's corruption. And that's corruption at the devolved level. As he says, that the people of Kirinyaga rise up and demand their sovereign.
But take us home.
I am at a loss. One, it's a fact that many people from central Kenya, you'll see them Friday morning, Saturday, hearses and convoys. Many of them you'll hear, if it's not Kenyatta University morgue, Chiromo. So perhaps they don't have a
there's
state
a
of
real
the heart.
need.
Perhaps it's a real need. Maybe what has been exaggerated could be the costing. Maybe.
Well, the costing is the problem. The costing is a problem. People of Kirinyaga and people of Kenya rise.
No, the problem is, I think, is the stalling.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the villages, most people, the morgue services are never there.
Yes.
So I think I agree with him. It's important. It's important to have a morgue.
More this on KTN Prime, where we're tonight on 47 days of accountability. We're focusing on Kirinyaga County. But I asked you, will Matiang'i's measures to curb exam cheating outlive him? 51% of you think they will. The rest 49% think absolutely not. Thank you very much, panel, for your time. That's News Sources. Derek Ben Kittil is up next with KTN Prime. Don't go too far.